After referencing our drawing we drew up earlier.
So we've transferred the measurement from the deck. I'll do a bit of demolition here. Old lattice.
We bend down all the nails as we pull the timbers up and grab a 2x4 as a lever. Some of these posts are in the ground deep, positioning the leverage system higher up the post.
Close the door and leave the light on. The morning light should be coming soon. Kick off your shoes and leave the winter and the pain it brings to you. Lay your head upon my shoulder. Shut off your thoughts and clear your mind.
Big jobs like these requires a lot of tools and a lot of setup, so I try and stay organised as I unpack all my gear, giving myself easy access to all the tools I'm going to need, and so I don't get in my own way. Often the spaces I'm in, the front and backyards, don't have a lot of room, and quite often you're building access paths right in the middle of where you have to work. So it requires a little bit of thought and planning so you don't have to move things more than once. After referencing our drawing we drew up earlier, we started to rough out the area we're going to need to excavate to build this wall. On this particular project, I'm using some of the large timbers I'm going to be using later for formwork for the foundations to rough out the height and length of the wall. The idea is to set up a temporary version of how a wall's going to be with these timbers and levels, so we can get some heights to know where to excavate. The existing deck is going to set the height for this wall, as we're going to be tying our wall into this deck later. So we transfer that height onto the other side of the yard, set up a temporary block so we can make pencil marks.
So we've transferred the measurement from the deck on the other side over to this fence.
We align our timber to the mark on the fence, double check with our tape measure. When we're satisfied everything's lined up, we lock it in with a screw. This will now set the height for how the wall will end up when it's built. Now that we have this timber laid out as a guide, we're ready to start excavating.
I'm going to start building the wall on the other end. We'll set a new line that's probably more accurate. We're going to be within about 10 to 20 mil, which is good enough for my excavation through this channel I had to dig out.
This whole section here has to be cleared out. We've got old retaining walls to remove, a lot of vegetation, and then we're going to start digging for our foundations.
We're just continuing to do a bit of demolition here, take out this old lattice.
We're using our reciprocating saw to take out this post here. You want to get yourself into a good position so you can operate this tool safely and effectively. Just work slowly and make cuts from different sides of the post until you can get to the center of it.
The fall is time. The fall is time. Can you say to me? Can you see and can you feel? Can you show me why you believe it? Someday I can see. Maybe it's time.
Just take your time and cut around all the edges, and it usually just snaps off so it doesn't fall on you. We'll dig that stump out later with a special process using a lever.
Before this time. Before this time.
This is all the material we removed for today. Always strap your load down really tight. You don't want anything falling off and causing a traffic hazard.
Another hot summer night.
This site required a lot of trees and shrubs to be removed. This is one of many trailer loads we had to take out of here.
Trying to find the words to describe something I can't find.
The wrecking bar gives great leverage for this kind of work.
It's time to see the truth. I haven't fallen from you. I'm so much closer than
Bend down all the nails as we pull the timbers up.
before this time.
Well, part of working in South Gippsland is the weather. So I often get rained off my job sites because it comes in kind of without warning. You have a mixed day of rain and sunshine like today. So I've just got rained off.
It had some night to my candlelight, trying to find the words to describe something I can't find. Maybe it's time to see the truth. I haven't fallen far from you. I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time.
You'll find all kinds of treasures buried in backyards.
Before this time, can you say to me? Can you see and can you feel?
This post is in really deep and will require a special process to remove, which we'll do later. This stake is buried so deep in the ground it requires a leverage system to pull it out. We drill a hole in the stake and get a 2x4, put a screw in the 2x4,
I'm so much closer than I was to you.
and then use the length of the 2x4 as a leverage to pull out the stake.
Before this time,
This morning we're just going to get rid of this temporary ramp we set up for moving materials from the front to the backyard. The wall goes right through that ramp. We've got to get our foundations started, so a bit of demolition to start the day. Oh look, the chickens are out. Check them out. A lot of the jobs they do in the country here have animals, either dogs, cats, or in this case chickens. So over the next few months whilst I'm working here, I've got to remember to keep the side gate shut or the chickens will get out on the street and then we'll have to round them up. So I've just got to remember to keep this gate closed when I'm not going in and out, because we've got to look after these chickens.
trying to find the words to describe something I can't find.
I built this ramp previously for a temporary access point for removing dirt from the front yard into the lower yard.
I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time. It had some night.
All this timber will be reused later in the concrete forms for our foundations.
Trying to find the words to describe.
Yeah, that completes the demolition of this ramp. Now I can pull out the rest of this old retaining wall for the new one we're going to put in.
I haven't fallen far from you.
As I mentioned previously, I built these ramps for access to the lower yard. I often build ramps to be able to get my wheelbarrow through safely and securely. It's part of a good job setup to have safe passageways to be able to move your materials without injuring yourself.
Can you see and can you feel?
Now we're going to pull out some of the old retaining walls.
Can you show me why you believe it?
Removing these kind of garden structures can be difficult if you're not smart about it. I use the wrecking bar for leverage, and sometimes I even use the piece of timber I'm pulling out against itself to help pull out a post like I did in this case.
So much closer than I was to you before this time.
I'm going to knock these steps out now and then replace it with a gravel path like I mentioned earlier. There's that big pile of dirt in the background. We're building up for a future terrace project. So it's going to flatten out from the deck with the gravel and a retaining wall around the back of that. Anyway, that's for another day. Sometimes you've got multiple jobs on your work site, so you're sort of prepping for the future job with some of the waste material of the current job you're doing. It's just about thinking like 3 moves ahead in a chess game. It just adds an extra set of complexity, but if you take your time and let yourself think about it, you know, have a break, enjoy your coffee, enjoy the beautiful view out here, you just develop a plan and then you get amongst it.
Sitting back in a light, trying to find the words to describe something I can't find. Maybe it's time to see the truth I'm falling from you.
So take your time, use your wrecking bar, use the right tools. Probably should be wearing gloves.
For this time,
Try and keep my job sites safe by always removing rusty nails. They'll be all through this old retaining wall kind of stuff. We always take out these nails as we go, so later when we're loading material we don't injure ourselves. We have a system for pulling out old stakes, timbers that are just deep in the ground and they're hard to pull out. We drill a hole and use a heavy screw and grab a 2x4 as a lever and then pull it out.
describe something I can't find.
By pinning this to this old bit of timber, we just use that as a lever and lift it out quite easily, as you can see.
I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time. Before this time, can you say to me, can you see and can you feel? Can you show me why you believe it?
You can never be too careful about these old rusty nails.
Maybe it's time to see the truth. I haven't fallen far from you. I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time. Before this time.
Some of these posts are in the ground deep, so we take our time. Using our leverage system, just take your time and keep wiggling the post and eventually she'll come out.
So we're starting to get our path cleared out, pulling out all that old timber with rusty nails that's in the way of our foundations to smooth that out so I can still dump materials out on that mound.
Another hot summer night.
This particular post is in the ground really deep, so it's going to take some extra work to get out. We just use the same leverage system we've been using for all the other posts we pulled out. But this one we have to keep positioning the leverage system higher up the post so we can get some torque on this and get it out of the ground. But if we persist with it, eventually she'll come out.
I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time. Before this time.
I finish off this post by hammering down the nails so it's safe for handling when I dispose of it.
These are the Corellas going crazy there. They're flying all over out here. Meanwhile, we want to get rid of the nails and out of this old timber so we can throw them out without getting ourselves injured in the process.
Can you say to me, can you see and can you feel? Can you show me why you believe in someday I can see? Maybe it's time to see the truth. I haven't fallen far from you. I'm so much closer than I was to you before this time.
Join me in the next episode as we tackle some heavy demolition, including this nasty stump removal. It took a lot of effort, but was very satisfying when I finally got it out.
Another hot summer night, sitting back in the light, trying to find the words to describe something I can't find. Maybe it's time to see the truth. I haven't fallen far from you.
Thanks for joining me this week on my YouTube channel. Check the link below, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe button or make a comment so I can help you with your future construction solutions. And don't forget to follow our channel for more ideas and how-to tips for home and garden projects.